ancient form of energy that goes back to the dawn of time. For us, it all begins with the sun, the source of light and life for our entire solar system. Even Einstein concluded that everything we're made of contains light. All life originates with the sun through photosynthesis. Plants and vegetation collect the light, and all living creatures emit light. Humans actually emit infrared light, which can be seen with night vision devices. We've known for centuries that light has many effects on the body. LifeWave's phototherapy patches use light to stimulate the body's natural healing systems, providing specific health benefits. Here's how the technology works. First, a patch is applied to specific points on the body. Where the patch covers the skin, infrared light emitted from the body is reflected back into the tissue. This stimulates the skin, which in turn stimulates specific regions of the brain. The brain then taps into the body's own natural flow of energy and the ability to heal itself.
Ready? Go. The truth is, the Patriots are overrated. They have a real hard time hitting the Kinzhal hypersonic missiles. Hypersonic missiles have, they're coming at 8,000 miles per hour. They're just, they zigzag. They got a barrier around the front of them, and they shoot off chaff. So they got chaff out the back that they shoot out to stop the interceptors. So the Kinzhal is basically Patriot-proof. Russia's been shooting those Patriot-proof hypersonics, and there's nothing Zelensky can do about it. Even if he had a couple batteries of Patriots, they still can't shoot them down. And then they just oversaturate everything with drones, the Iranian drones, and then the hypersonics, and then they come in there with the artillery. So Ukrainians are getting their butt kicked. The only good strike they had was they took out an ammo base in Donetsk, and it was huge. It looked like a tactical nuke went off. I don't know what Putin's keeping in these ammo bases, but those are big explosions when they hit them. Ready, Max? Go. All right. So I got a couple clips here from South Front Telegram, and we're just gonna show Ukraine at this moment, because Israel isn't really attacking Iran anymore, and they got a supposed peace treaty going on. So I don't know what Zelensky's thinking, but if I were him, I'd really try to get a truce going, because Russia's on the move. Russia's killing 10-1. They got air superiority. Zelensky doesn't have anything but mercs now, and old men and women and mercs, and he's out of Patriots, so doesn't look good for him. So here's a couple clips. Hope you enjoy. JP. Mix! Frisbee.
In the early hours of July 4th, 2025, Russian forces launched one of the largest aerial assaults on Ukraine, deploying over 550 air attack assets, including drones, ballistic missiles, and hypersonic weapons. The massive attack was likely a response to the Ukrainian missile strikes on Donetsk and Luhansk, with drone strikes deeper in the rear. The primary target was Kiev, where a devastating combination of kamikaze drones, Iskander ballistic missiles, and Kinzhal aeroballistic missiles struck multiple locations across the capital. Fires engulfed the city. Some of them were recorded near the National Security Service Academy, which reportedly suffered significant damage. A series of strikes hit critical infrastructure, including the Vasilkiv and Zylyani airfields and energy facilities, exacerbating power outages. Satellite imagery confirmed large-scale fires, while Ukrainian air defenses struggled to intercept the barrage, officially acknowledging the downing of only 56% of incoming threats. Ukrainian social media channels highlighted the ineffectiveness of its air defenses, with many drones and missiles reaching their targets unchallenged. Beyond Kiev, Russian attacks extended to other Ukrainian cities, including Kryvyi Rih, Konotop, and Poltava, where military warehouses and drone production facilities were struck. Drone strikes on energy infrastructure in Belitskoye disrupted power supplies to frontline areas. Meanwhile, Ukrainian forces retaliated with limited strikes on Russian regions, including Azov and Sergiev Posad, reportedly causing civilian casualties and damaging industrial sites. Kiev's main beggar Zelensky, who traditionally escaped from the country to Europe during the massive attack, seized the moment to add fuel to the conflict and call for stricter Western sanctions against Russia, urging the US and EU to crush Russia's economy. However, his appeals contrasted with growing domestic frustration over Kiev's inability to secure any military victories or establish any reliable air defense. Zelensky is accused by his own people of prolonging an unwinnable war while the civilians bear the brunt of escalating strikes. Amid the violence, Moscow persists with diplomatic efforts. Russian President Vladimir Putin and his U.S. counterpart Donald Trump held a phone discussion. Moscow insists on reaffirming its openness to negotiations, though Russia will not abandon its strategic objectives. The call underscored the Kremlin's narrative of seeking peace while continuing military pressure, even as Ukraine's leadership dismissed talks without territorial concessions. With no immediate de-escalation in sight, Kiev's vulnerabilities are exposed and Moscow's strikes are aimed at leveraging forcing political concessions.
Amid heavy daily losses, the Ukrainian military continues aggressive mobilization. Scattered Ukrainian units are replenished primarily thanks to forced conscription through regional recruitment centers. According to Ukrainian estimates that are often compromising real numbers, such a regional center processes at least 100 individuals per day, contributing to an estimated daily influx of around 2,000 new soldiers into the armed forces of Ukraine. This figure does not even account for the remaining so-called volunteers, many of whom enlist out of desperation rather than conviction. With widespread unemployment and poverty, men often see no other choice. Joining the army provides their families with meager financial support, firewood, coal, utilities, subsidies, and educational benefits. One captured soldier bluntly admitted, "I came here to die so my family would get some money. I know they won't pay millions, but at least it's something." The Russian military has responded by systematically targeting these recruitment centers across the country. Recent precision attacks on recruitment centers in Poltava, Milhorod-Dnistrovsky, Kryvyi Rih, Rivne, and the Kharkov region suggest a shift in Russian strategy aimed at disrupting Ukraine's ability to replenish its forces. Russian strikes have also evolved tactically. Today's strikes on targets in Poltava demonstrate a calculated approach. Multiple drones, often 3 or more per target, strike from different angles to ensure destruction while overwhelming air defenses. This method increases the likelihood of neutralizing high-value objectives, such as recruitment centers or military logistics hubs. Strikes on mobilization centers are met with rejoice from the locals, seeing Russian strikes as a way to escape from forced mobilization, indicating growing resentment toward Kiev's aggressive conscription tactics. Despite Kiev's inhumane attempts, Ukrainian mobilization efforts are faltering. The pool of eligible men is shrinking, with many either evading authorities or fleeing abroad. Over 7 million Ukrainians have left the country since the war began, including draft-age men smuggled out through corrupt networks. Fake humanitarian organizations, often with official complicity, facilitate escapes by forging documents or exploiting volunteer permits. Meanwhile, desertions within the military remain rampant, with 20,000 soldiers abandoning their posts in May alone. Ukraine's mobilization system is buckling under corruption, evasion, and dwindling public trust. As Russian strikes intensify, Kiev faces a paradox. Harsher conscription measures only fuel resistance and further erode morale. Ukraine risks not just a manpower crisis, but a collapse of institutional credibility. Meanwhile, Russia capitalizes on this vulnerability as its attacks are seen as a form of liberation from forced enlistment and death on the battlefield. The Russian summer offensive of 2025 is gaining momentum, bringing steady territorial gains and strategic breakthroughs. According to Russian monitoring sources, over 470 square kilometers were liberated in June alone. 9 victories added to the already substantial progress made in May, when more than 580 square kilometers came under Russian control. Ukrainian reporters are providing slightly different figures, claiming about 500 square kilometers lost in June, but they were forced to reluctantly acknowledge the growing pace of Russia's offensive, undermining Kiev's earlier claims of having halted Moscow's advance. The summer campaign reached a symbolic milestone in early July when the head of the Lugansk People's Republic declared the complete liberation of the republic's territory. This announcement, widely echoed by the media, was framed as the fulfillment of one of the key objectives of the special military operation. However, reports from the battlefield noted that some small border areas, including the village of Novoye Gorovka and some forests, remained contested, casting doubt on the absolute nature of the claim. The Republic was fully liberated back in 2022, but as a result of Russian retreat, some positions were lost. Today, Ukrainian forces still maintain their presence in the border areas. Despite these minor discrepancies, the declaration carries political weight, highlighting Moscow's irreversible progress. Amid the liberation of the LBR, the Russian army gained its first victory in the Dnipropetrovsk region. Footage from the battlefield confirmed the capture of the village of Dachny, marking the first time Russian forces have established control in a new region. Located on the northern bank of the Volchya River, the control of Dachny provides Russian troops with a strategic foothold, enabling further advances along key Ukrainian supply routes. A new foothold across the river allows Russian forces to occupy elevated positions that negate Ukraine's previous observational advantages. This breakthrough opens new operational possibilities, including potential pressure on Ukrainian logistics hubs west of Pokrovsk, which rely heavily on the MO4 highway. Ukrainian defenses in the area, though entrenched in forested highlands, face growing logistical strain as Russian forces disrupt supply lines, creating an increasingly isolated pocket of resistance. Meanwhile, fighting continues on a wide front to Pokrovsk, where Russian troops are gradually advancing toward the administrative border of the Dnipropetrovsk region. The broader operational picture suggests a deliberate Russian strategy of methodical advances rather than rapid, high-risk maneuvers. By securing key terrain and degrading Ukrainian supply networks, Russian forces are setting the stage for further gains in the coming weeks. With July expected to bring even greater challenges for Ukrainian defenses, the summer campaign is poised to reshape the front line before another round of negotiations.
Falling too fast to prepare for this. Tripping in the world could be dangerous. Everybody circling as vultures. Negative, nepotist. Everybody waiting for the fall of man. Everybody praying for the end of times. Everybody hoping they could be the one. I was born to run, I was born for this. Whip, whip, run me like a racehorse. Pull me like a ripcord. Break me down and build me up. I wanna be the slip, slip. Word upon your lip, lip. Rather that you rip, rip. Break me down and build me up. Whatever it takes. Hanging on to the visual, I wanna be invisible. Looking at my years like I'm out of dumb. Everybody needs to be a part of them. Never be enough from the prodigal son. I was born to run, I was born for this. Whip, whip, run me like a racehorse. Pull me like a ripcord. Break me down and build me up. I wanna be the slip, slip. Word upon your lip, lip. Rather that you rip, rip. Break me down and build me up. Whatever it takes. Cause I love the adrenaline in my veins. I do whatever it takes. Cause I love how it feels when I break the chains. Whatever it takes. Yeah, take me to the top. I'm ready for whatever it takes. Cause I love the adrenaline in my veins. I do what it takes. Hypocritical, egotistical. Don't wanna be the parenthetical, hypothetical. Working onto something that I'm proud of. Out of the box, an epoxy to the world and the vision we've lost. I'm an apostrophe. I'm just a symbol to remind you that there's more to see. I'm just a product of the system of catastrophe, and yet a masterpiece. And yet I'm half diseased, and when I am deceased, at least I go down to it takes. Whatever it takes. 'Cause I love the adrenaline in my veins. I do whatever it takes. 'Cause I love how it feels when I break the chain. Whatever it takes. Yeah, take me to the top. I'm ready for whatever it takes. 'Cause I love the adrenaline in my veins. I do what it takes.